All right, well, we'll get started. Oh. Hi, Penny.
Hi.
Um,
Sorry, sorry, I didn't know this was in person. I quickly read the uh, meeting. I thought it said virtual, so I'm sorry.
oh, we have both. It's a hybrid meeting, so
Okay,
I was
sorry
gonna say,
about
I
that.
recall
it's
Sean
okay.
had asked clarification on that too.
Well, it is Thursday, January 22nd at 5:01 p.m. and we do have a quorum and the agenda was properly posted. It is a hybrid meeting, of course. We're at Village Hall and the link is on Zoom. So I'll move on to item 3, public appearances. Public's opportunity to speak about any subject that's not a specific agenda item. And we don't have any members of the public wishing to speak tonight. Gigi, unless you have anything you want to tell us about? No?
No.
All right, then we'll move on to item 4, discuss and consider the minutes of the Parks, Rec, and Forestry Committee meeting on November 20th. Any comments, edits on the meeting minutes? Okay, well, I would make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Penny, I think you have to do it because I wasn't here.
I will second.
Okay, thank you, Penny. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Then we'll move on to item 5, Miracle League Playground Update. And I see Sean's ready to share his screen with some images of the Miracle League Playground.
Okay, I'll try and make that bigger a little bit. So I think you have seen this before. Nothing has really changed, just a fundraising update. They have raised the $750,000 that we needed for the first round. So that, to purchase the equipment, so that means that it is actually on its way to Mount Horeb, and they will store it until we're ready for construction, hopefully this summer. So the remaining, they got about a little bit under 700,000 to raise yet, and that is going to be for installation and the surfacing. So, and there's one more payment that's due, but then the majority of that, the remainder bulk payment is due once everything is done. So sometime, hoping that if things move along as planned, we're hoping that we're ready to roll by Labor Day, is what we're hoping. They figure about 8 weeks to install the equipment, and then another week or so for the surfacing, and that's with good weather and all of that stuff. So yeah, if things proceed as planned and they have the money, we'll be starting as quickly as we can. With the intention is to keep the old playground up as long as we can. So right now we're thinking first part of June. It's going to take them at least a week to disassemble and separate the good from the bad for whatever's good and whatever's bad. So it's going to take a little bit to do that and then just kind of clear things out. So I'm hoping that the existing playground is open through Memorial Day, is what our intention is. We've started contacting possible renters for the summer, especially with the how popular that Bakken shelter is. So we're just letting people know that it's going to be a construction zone down there. The playground itself, that whole area. So if you can imagine, the footprint is a little bit bigger than what it's been. You can kind of see the darker or almost the white. That's the existing. The black outlining is what will be the new. So the footprint's a little bit bigger, but that whole area will be fenced off. And then also, can't see it on this rendering, but we'll also need to probably fence off an area that directly in front of the shelter. If you can see my cursor, right in this area, that will be more of like an equipment staging type of an area. So it's not going to be pretty down there this summer, but it'll still be functional. Splash pad will be open. None of that will change. It's just it'll just be busy down there, but the end product is much worth any inconvenience that we have to get there. We met today, so it was myself, Greg from Miracle League, and then Andy from Schneider. And we met just to kind of go over their original rendering of this. I'll kind of zoom in a little bit. This rendering kind of shows, and I don't want that to be blue. How do I, there we go. The fencing itself, the existing sunshades they are showing them within the fencing. And I don't like that. We're going to end up keeping those on the outside of the fence. One of the things that we tell people when the shelter is reserved is that the sunshades that are, the existing sunshades that are there, please occupy those for, instead of setting up camp underneath the shelter. So we say, just use those. And we don't want it to seem like that is just for use with, if you're using the Miracle Field. So that was one of the things that we met on today. There will be some gates strategically located so that people can get in and out of there. The other one was how they had originally set up the donor area, and wasn't really. We were originally told that was not going to be touched, moved, whatever. In their original drawing that they had sent earlier this week, it was moved. Things were very much different. In the conversation that we had today, we kind of talked about, I said, we can adjust, but I want all of that stuff to stay as clean as it can. So what we kind of talked about today, and as you can see, this is kind of what the current situation looks like, and I'll keep trying to make this bigger. This is as you can see, this is the entryway. And this gray board or blue board that you see, that's the back of the major sponsor donors. So to me, this isn't really all that inviting. It is what it is. I wouldn't, if the playground wasn't changing, I wouldn't change this, but we kind of started thinking about what can we make this more of a focal point. And then we kind of started talking about, and I really like an idea of doing something like, if I can find the right one. Bear with me one second. That one. So this one right here. I like doing something like that, and where we could, and we're investigating this, and this will be something that will come back to this committee about to make sure that you guys are okay with it. But maybe taking that gigantic piece of plywood that is there and taking all of the names that are off there and incorporating them into more of a plaque scenario like this. So I like the way this looks, and then what we could possibly do as well is take all of those donor tiles that are there, gently remove them and affix them to a structure like this, so that as you would come into the park, or the main entrance is this area right here. Hopefully you can see my cursor, the red and blue area. So I don't have any renderings that show that, but it would be kind of a circle that the focal point would be more, you would see everybody's names right there, and it would be more of to me, just more of a celebration of the people that were there other than on a piece of plywood. So we're looking at that idea right now, and just wanted to know if anybody had any initial thoughts about doing something different there.
I think you're on the right track. I think that's a good first step. Who are you working with on that again?
The engineer is Schneider.
Oh, okay.
So Schneider did the Miracle Field, and they're yep. So yeah, we're going to reuse. We're 100% going to reuse the bricks, and we're going to reuse the tiles. That was one thing. We can't damage any of those. They need to remain, and we need to use them. If nothing else, we just leave it 100% as is and build everything around it. May give us some different opportunities for some space adjustments and doing some things in there, but I really like that idea. It cleans it up and still makes sure that the people that were involved the first time around are still remembered for that. So That is kind of that is the Miracle League update as of now. Yeah, any questions on the playground?
I guess just one question on the timeline, just to make sure we have the accessible for the parking plan for the festival. I know that's just, we have to keep that on, to have equipment in the way of where they're gonna park. I know that we had talked about that at Village Board, the event packet, but since this is kind of special, just making sure we coordinate that.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that we've talked about already, is just kind of avoiding that week if possible, as much as they can. It really, it's really only Thursday, Friday. They probably won't work on weekends. So I'll make sure that they clean it up around there as much as possible, get equipment out as they can, or at least tidied up.
Well, I guess the only other thing with that was with rugby, and if they have events that will coincide with the timeline in terms of parking challenges.
They're lighter until the fall. Once we get through the spring season, then it's only like one event or possibly two that would overlap during this construction period. So I don't think it's going to be much of a heartache for them or for parking. And the overall parking adjustments down there, that will happen before the Miracle League season starts. So if you remember, we're taking out that curb line along the western part of the shelter and making that all ground level so we can have accessible parking in there. So that's going to be done in-house, and we're looking, hopefully that's done in April or early part of May, weather dependent. So staff, Public Works staff and our staff is taking care of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, this looks really great. It's really exciting to, think it's just a couple months away.
It's hard to believe that who would have thought that they would raise $750,000 in just a few months? So it's very cool.
Yep. Great. Any other questions on Miracle League Playground? All right, then our next 2026 playground, the Shady Grove Park update.
So that's spinning along slowly. We just signed the contract within the last couple weeks, so I would anticipate that in the next month, hopefully by our next meeting, we'll have a pre-con meeting and kind of talk about what the timeline looks like. They have until June 13th or something like that to be at substantial completion, so they're aware of, that we want this done as quickly as possible. They didn't, they chose not to do anything over the course of, the late fall, early winter. So they'll be hopefully ready to go as soon as they can. Other than that, I can't think of any, am I missing anything with Shady Grove? I don't think so.
Not that I can think of.
So those are the two big ones that are coming up.
All right, any questions for Shady Grove Park?
Nope.
All right, keep it rolling. Sean, you get to keep talking with your director's report.
Yeah. Spring Summer Village View, or the program guide, will be out and available on Wednesday, February 18th. So we've started taking park rentals over for the year. As I mentioned, some special verbiage included for the Bakken playground construction. Our Cooking with Claire classes continue to be successful. Just did Italian pizza night. And the next one is a Valentine's Day pasta class. So has anybody ever seen Claire's kitchen? It's amazing. It's like huge. It's like this room size, not quite this big, but it's massive. Yeah, she holds these in her house. Yeah, it's massive. Basketball programs are up and running. As I mentioned, we are hosting some, especially this weekend. Youth volleyball and our Big Ten programs are up and running. We'll host a couple Sundays at Granite Ridge, so it's awesome that we can use those facilities. Excuse me. And we're getting ready to start posting jobs for summer. So if you know of any kiddos or anybody that's looking for work this summer, especially we're definitely hiring in our college maintenance crew. So know any young adults that are looking for something to do this summer, send them our way. And other than that, park staff, snow removal, just do an update on equipment. We did haul in about 30 picnic tables and got some new boards on those and painted, so we're ready to go right away in the spring with that. Vehicle maintenance. And the other thing that I wanted to share with you real quick, the park fee schedule, Aaron released that, excuse me, this week. So I'll share that document with you just so you know. It's all based on the consumer price index. So let's see, share. There we go. Can everybody see that? Heidi, can you see that?
Vision exam.
Yeah, so just in comparison, it went up, I believe, like 2.8%. So what you're looking at is the 26 one, so just for comparison, that's the 25 one. So just, if we just look at single-family unit, it was 2588 last year. This year, it's 2661. So that's just, I just wanted to share anything that we get there, that's what makes up our park development fund. So each year, just cost of living that it goes up, unless we, wanted to bring it back and really talk about a fee increase or something like that. That's what we're charging, and that's what's going into our park development fund. That is all I have.
Great, thank you, Sean. Any questions for Sean on his report? All right, then future agenda items. I guess whatever updates we have on Miracle League and Shady Grove. There was a concept development proposal. I don't know if anything's gonna come back with that anytime soon. Seemed like they needed to go back to the drawing board per the village board concept plan.
For what?
Lindstrom,
Oh, yeah, the Lindstrom property?
so
Is that one by the airport?
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
otherwise,
Can I ask a question? And Penny, maybe you can help. Jay, I know you weren't here, but for future agenda items on our last meeting, we had the community park shelter. Does anybody remember exactly what we were looking to cover there? Penny, do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. I believe that it was just about picking a design, because I think there's been some talk of a four-season shelter, and then there was talk of the more general shelter like we have right now. But it isn't really in the financial management plan anywhere. So,
yeah.
because we were originally scheduled to do engineering this year and build next year, and it got moved, and I can't see if it really got put back in.
Yeah, it was all like pending, can we actually rent it in its current condition?
Yeah,
If we do any
which we
work, then we
can.
have to bring it into compliance, like ADA. And so, but I think the way the village board left it is probably gonna be at least 5 years away, is kind of
That's
what I
kinda what I thought.
remember.
Yeah,
Before it's replaced.
Yeah,
yeah, and because once legal because as Heidi mentioned, because of the condition and the ADA deficiencies, could we even rent that facility out? And our legal team said yes, we were okay. So that, I think that if they would have said no, maybe there's a push to push that up farther, but since legal felt it was okay, it kind of didn't really get put anywhere.
yeah, so we probably don't need that on future agenda
Yeah.
items.
But I
for
just want to
next
make
time.
sure that I
Yeah.
wasn't missing something that we wanted to have on there.
Yeah,
And then one thing I think we're going to need to talk about is the pier at the North Pond in the Hamburg, what is that, Fourth Ad? Fourth Ad. We had a resident that lives around there that thought, like, why the heck, I don't know if anybody's been up there, but that whole pond is just basically, at least half of the pond is now engulfed in cattails. And there's been some question, this is more of a public works thing than it is our thing, but there's been some question as to, some people that live in that area want those gone. And Public Works is looking into it. It can be an expensive endeavor and something that you're doing over and over again, because nobody plants those, they just, yeah, and birds bring them in, and so right now, that pier really doesn't have any purpose because there's not much pond there. So do we want to move it? And, you know, like, I think Heidi and I,
Over by the pig retaining pond.
that was, put your mic on over here and talk, please, sorry. That was what we thought about, was, because that seems to be the clearest, most open pond. We don't have any paths that make it accessible, so we'd have to put a path in there to make it accessible. And then, is the same thing gonna happen with that pond as far as cattails go? Because it's a storm pond. That's part of what a storm pond is, so I don't know that the village wants to get into, okay, we're gonna keep all of our storm ponds clean, or we're gonna, so just something I think we're gonna have to talk about, because right now it doesn't really serve a purpose in where it's at, but we would have to put some money into moving it. So I'm gonna just tentatively write down pier as a possible agenda item.
Yeah, it would be good to at least, discuss it, and if we can ask to get some kind of rough figures around it too for budget season, because capital
Yep.
plan was not really that far away.
Yep, and then we're also kind of beginning, we're into the forestry stuff. We're in the process of creating kind of dividing the village into about 5 quadrants, and what we want to get to ultimately is we want to get to being able to publicize and say, hey, this year we're working in zone 1. If you live in zone 1, it's likely your tree's going to be pruned. We want to get to that point, but in order to get to that point, we have to clean up everything that we have. So we're meeting with a couple of contractors to see what it would cost to contract out the initial pruning on some of these things to get us to a point that we can handle everything in-house. Because it's just, everything's happened so quickly, and, we only have one full-time person in forestry, so we're keeping ahead of and staying up to date with the problem ones, but it's the preventative stuff that we really want to get a handle on. So that's what's going on in the forestry world. I'm done talking.
All right, any other things for a future agenda or questions for Sean? All right, otherwise, all we have left, item 9.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and second to adjourn, all non-debatable. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Thanks,
Stay
Penny.
warm tomorrow.
Thanks. Shortest meeting ever. Bye, everyone.